The season opener race in Bahrain was a wild ride, just as everyone had hoped. Verstappen made it look easy, leaving his competition in the dust. Aston Martin really showed up and gave us a run for our money, while Alonso snagged an impressive third place. But the real shocker was Charles Leclerc's DNF. Who saw that coming? Mercedes was trailing behind, hoping to improve their standings in the upcoming races. All in all, the results were expected, except Leclerc's DNF causing PTSD to Ferrari fans from last season. Charles Leclerc didn't mince his words after his retirement from the Bahrain Grand Prix. According to him, there were absolutely no silver linings to be found in Ferrari's performance, as he was lagging behind Red Bull by a whole second. It's a bitter pill to swallow for a team that came into winter testing with a sense of hope and optimism. However, as the Bahrain GP approached, Ferrari's confidence seemed to have waned a bit and they were a bit more cautious about their chances. Despite their best efforts, it seems like they still have some work to do to catch up to the frontrunners. Leclerc and his partner in crime, Carlos Sainz, managed to secure a spot on the second row of the grid right behind the Red Bulls. At the start of the race, Leclerc was able to nab second place from Sergio Perez, but his lead didn't last long. In the second stint, he was overtaken by Perez and eventually started to lose steam. Things took a turn for the worse when he was forced to retire from third place. It's a tough break for Leclerc, who had shown some promise earlier in the race, but it seems like luck wasn't on his side this time around. Leclerc's troubles continued throughout the race. He had to replace his energy store before the start of the race, which is only permitted twice during the entire season. Ferrari had put in a lot of effort to ensure their reliability in the winter after issues in that department cost them the title in 2022. But despite all their hard work, Leclerc's retirement due to a reliability problem was a real kick in the teeth. When asked about how worried he was about this, he didn't mince his words. It doesn't feel good. It's clear that there's still a lot of work to be done to ensure Ferrari's reliability going forward. To make matters worse, Leclerc didn't even have any warning of the issue during the race and suffered no loss of performance prior to the retirement. It's a real head-scratcher and one that Ferrari will need to get to the bottom of quickly. Leclerc was also asked if there were any signs of reliability issues during Ferrari's factory and dyno testing, to which he replied that he wasn't aware of any. But it's not just the reliability issues that are troubling Leclerc, it's also the poor pace that Ferrari displayed during the race. At the beginning, he was falling behind Verstappen at a rate of 0.6 to 0.8 seconds per lap, and even his teammate Sainz couldn't keep up. To add insult to injury, Sainz was overtaken by Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin and was even under pressure from Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes. It's clear that Ferrari still has a lot of work to do if they want to keep up with the competition this season. Red Bull seems to have found something really big during the race pace, said Leclerc. In terms of quali pace, they're actually pretty similar to us, so at least we managed to extract a lap time yesterday, but then we come to the race and every lap we are a second off the pace, which is huge. So we really need to work on that, plus the reliability. When asked by The Race if Ferrari's gap to Red Bull was worse than he anticipated, Leclerc surprisingly revealed that it was no worse than what his team had predicted during testing. Despite their hopes that they were wrong in their predictions, they were unfortunately proven right. Ferrari is way behind Red Bull in terms of race pace. Leclerc was disappointed about retiring from the race and felt that third place was within reach as he had a good margin over the cars behind him and was managing well in the last stint. However, he also wondered if Alonso's fifth-place qualifying spot had skewed his perception of the race. He acknowledged that Bahrain is a specific track and hoped that the situation could change in the upcoming races, but he also knew that Ferrari couldn't rely on that. Leclerc made the strategic decision to skip the final Q3 run to save fresh tires for the race, which definitely helped him in his first lap battle with Perez. But when asked about this potential positive aspect of the weekend, he didn't seem too thrilled about it. In fact, he immediately shut down any discussion of positives, stating that it was impossible to focus on them when you don't finish the race. While he acknowledged that the choice to skip the final Q3 run was good, as was his start, the overall performance of Ferrari was disappointing. Leclerc couldn't hide his frustration with the reliability issues, especially given that it happened during the very first race of the season. But what went wrong for Ferrari? Well, Ferrari's bad luck from last season seems to have followed them into the new season, as Charles Leclerc suffered an electrical issue and had to retire from the Bahrain Grand Prix after running in a podium position for 41 laps. To make matters worse, a new power electrical component was put into Leclerc's car before the race, which means he has already used up 50% of his energy store allocation for the year. It's no wonder Leclerc was devastated by the result, especially since he had 3 retirements while in a podium position last season. To add insult to injury, strategy decisions also cost the team valuable points in the constructor standings. While Leclerc's teammate Carlos Sainz was able to move up to P3, he was unable to hold off Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin and finished 4th. Meanwhile, rival team Red Bull Racing had an easy time, with Max Verstappen taking first place followed by teammate Sergio Perez in second. Ted Kravitz had this to say: "It was a DNF for Charles Leclerc with some kind of engine failure, and it was P4 for Carlos Sainz. Ferrari are pretty sure that Leclerc would have been able to hold on to P3 ahead of Fernando Alonso. I don't quite know. Alonso, with the tire delta and the fresher tires at the end, might have got Leclerc. We don't know what would have happened. It was a good start from Leclerc. He got P2 from Sergio Perez, then he got done by Perez, but he was running happily in P3 before the power unit conked out. For Sainz, tire degradation was really his issue. The car is not quite there, he doesn't feel quite there, so we'll see if Ferrari's tire degradation is still there in 2 weeks' time in Jeddah. If it is, then you know they're in trouble." Ferrari's team principal, Frederic Vasseur, is scratching his head in confusion over Charles Leclerc's engine failure during the Bahrain Grand Prix. The team had already swapped out 2 critical parts in the car before the race, but the power unit still gave up the ghost 2/3 of the way through the race, leaving them bewildered and frustrated. Vasseur admits that they don't have a clue what happened exactly, and an investigation is underway to try and get to the bottom of it. The fact that Ferrari had focused so heavily on eliminating any potential reliability issues over the winter makes the incident all the more perplexing. It's just another headache for the team, who are already struggling to match the pace of their main rivals. And the frustration is evident in Vasseur's words. He's got no choice but to wait for more information before he can offer any real insight into what went wrong. "We never expected to have something like this because it's the first time that we had it. We didn't face the same issue at all during the 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers that we did with the engines last week with the 3 teams. And we never had the same issue on the dyno throughout the winter," said Vasseur. Frederic Vasseur, the Ferrari team principal, admitted that their overall performance during the Bahrain Grand Prix was not up to their expectations. While their qualifying pace matched Red Bull's, their reliability failed them as Charles Leclerc's power unit failure caught them off guard. To improve, Vasseur emphasized the need for a clear picture of the situation and the importance of reliability. He highlighted that winning races requires a clean weekend without small details undermining their efforts. On the issue of tire degradation, Vasseur believes that Leclerc could have finished 3rd if it weren't for the issue. However, the degradation is at the level of Mercedes and not too far of Alonso. The team plans to conduct a proper analysis of their situation to identify what went well and what went wrong. From there, they will work towards making the necessary improvements. But for now, Ferrari needs to step up and make a significant leap forward to compete with their rivals. What are your thoughts on their chances of bouncing back? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this discussion, why not smash that like button and hit subscribe for more F1 content.